I've never quite gotten why people hate TBR so much. Because, personally, I use TBRs for basically anything that relates to getting new books and finding new books to read. I watch TBRs constantly, and when people ask me what are you doing, I always I answer that, oh, I'm watching a TBR, and they're like, what's that? And I explain what a TBR is, and they don't seem to understand the concept of it, but if the booktuber does it right and just explains the book and why I find it interesting, I might find it interesting as well. Hi everyone, this is Ingrid and welcome to my WinterBookLand. As you can see, we've changed locations, and honestly it's just because I have a lot of stuff that I need to talk about, and I can't be bothered to bend down and pick up these things over and over again. So we've changed a bit of locations, and I'm also gotten really tired of my chair because it's so squeaky, so I have to start sentences over again because of it. But I'm going to treat this TBR as a little bit of a reading update as well, because I've had a little bit of trouble with reading these past few weeks. How's the vlog coming along? It's coming very soon. It's just that I usually prioritize these videos instead of that, because these videos have certain timestamps they need to be up at. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna link to this video in the Read Your Country tag video, because when I made that video, it was just before we started in the literature timeline in Norwegian. So now I'm going back to that video and I'm just like, wow. Because a lot of interesting Norwegian authors I'm just learning in depth about now. So that's actually going to be the first thing I'm talking about. First that, and then books I'm currently reading, and then books I'm planning to read. We're going through the periods of poetic realism and realism in Norwegian, and a lot of the authors there have some books or plays or scripts that sound really interesting. So I just want to give you a heads up, because a lot of these plays and literature, they are very... If you're looking for feminist works, you should definitely look at some of these plays, because I don't really get people who say that, oh, it's just now that people have started complaining about the society we live in, because many of these authors fled. They went to another country because they couldn't stay in Norway because they were so critical of the society. For example, Henrik Ibsen. You may know his name. He's the one who wrote the very famous play A Dollhouse. A Dollhouse revolves around a woman who has forged her husband's and her father's signatures on some papers, because women aren't allowed to sign papers and extract money from the bank, and it's basically around her facing the consequences, and the ending is really well known. It's kind of a stamp in Norwegian literature, the way it's handled. And then of course we have Per Gynt. It's kind of a commentary on the Norwegian view at that time, and as my Norwegian teacher said, also now, kind of this close-minded Norwegian view of things. And it's an idea play. It's a play. Which means that it's centered around one specific idea, the entire play. And he also has a play called Villan, The Wild Goose. Det er and, ikke sant? Det er gås. Duck. I think it's duck. The Wild Duck, and it's a psychological play. We haven't discussed it yet in class, but we are going to, and my teacher said it's one of the most beautiful pieces that Ibsen has ever written. Like, he has written so many, and A Dollhouse is his most known one. But if you're looking for like feminist literature, I would definitely recommend reading A Dollhouse. We also have another author from this time period. I think I mentioned him actually. His name is Bjørnstjerne Bjørnson. And one work I wanted to look at is the work Hansken, basically the glove. That has also inspired a lot of sayings in Norwegian. And it's another piece of feminist literature. You can kind of see what parts of society they were criticizing at the time. But basically it discusses the double morale in sexuality at the time between women and men. How women were supposed to be pure, but men were supposed to have as much sexual history as they could, basically. And kind of criticizes that double morale, because Bjørnson thought that both women and men should be pure for the marriage. And he also has two plays. I'll put the titles up on the screen because I can't remember them right now, but they criticize the publishing industry and kind of newspapers and journalism, all because Bjørnson had some beef with another journalist. And maybe the most important one I would say is Amtmannens døtre. I'm going to put the English translation up, by Camilla Collett. It is basically, it takes the idea of a woman's role at that time and kind of questions it. It has a lot of themes and that are very great, and I think Camilla Collett is a wonderful writer. I don't know if that's going to translate. I hope that Camilla Collett is translated because she's a very talented writer. But yeah, that's just some things I wanted to mention because I really want to read their books right now. Because we're having this project where we're going to talk about literature, and Bjørnson's text, the glove, me and my friend were like so happy about reading it, because like the play that we were reading from, two of the strongest female characters in the play were having this completely awesome moment, and it was really enjoyable to read. And if you want like more of Norwegian literature, I would recommend Kielland and Lie. They are kind of, the thing is, like Ibsen, Bjørnstjerne Bjørnson, Kielland and Lie is known as the Big Four of Norway, that were kind of big at the time, and they brought up a lot of problematic things and criticized society a lot. So if that interests you, go look up some of their work. And then we're gonna move on to the books that I'm currently reading, and this is a bit embarrassing because I have been stuck on page 10 of the Count of Monte Cristo for like 2 months now, I think, because I just can't get the motivation to actually read it. We may see in the autumn break, it's just because I'm procrastinating it really. I've put it on the side, like in my actual bed, and just started later for a while. It's not one of those books where you can tell that it's bad because you're stuck on it. It's just that it is very heavy material, or he has a very good writing style. Dumas has a really good writing style, but it's just a lot to ingest and just comprehend about the book. So I'm taking my time with it, I think. And then we have the reason I haven't been able to read The Count of Monte Cristo, because I've been very nostalgic lately, like read books that I read in my childhood, and one of these series is a series called Spirit Animals, and it is not by one particular author. This book in particular, the 5th book, is by Tui T. Sutherland. The 2nd book is written by Maggie Stiefvater, so it kind of rotates on authors. The last book is actually written by Marie Lu, is it? But I basically started reading this series again because my sister recently reread it, and I kind of just I stopped after the 2nd book the first time I read it, I think, so I just wanted to continue reading it. And so far I've been kind of impressed. The thing is, there's a lot of like okay, we're should probably just summarize it. Okay. This book centers around 4 children in a world where you have spirit animals. Where you have a ceremony where you kind of drink this drink and you, if you're lucky, you get a spirit animal. And these 4 children get the 4 fallen ones. The biggest, most powerful animals that fell in the last battle about this world. We have the wolf Briggan, the falcon... Oh my god. Essex? Her name is Essex. The panda G, and Urasa is her name though, but I can't remember if she's a leopard or a jaguar. And now the evil force is rising again, and these kids have to train with these animals and basically defeat the guy. So no matter how simplistic that sounds, these books really discuss this so great. All the 4 main characters have very distinct flaws in them, and they also have a lot of like conflicting character moments, and even if like the rhetoric can be a little simplistic, you kind of get the sense that these are kids caught in a war that they can't really comprehend, and they also get placed in situations where their motives and their rhetoric gets called into question. And I think it also deals with these emotions and repercussions very well. At least grief is dealt with in a fantastic manner. Like, there's one character I got a little bit annoyed by. She was stuck on the same character point of not really respecting her spirit animal and not really believing a spirit animal to be useful, but she was stuck on that for like 3 books, and it was kind of annoying because she had a powerful moment in each book where she really realized that the animal was actually useful. So that was a bit annoying. I find the series to actually be a very well done series for kids. The language isn't too advanced either, so I feel like anyone on every literature and reading skill level can actually read these books. And then we have the books that I have not read yet. You'll probably recognize a lot of these because they have been in my TBR for so long. We'll start with the books that I am least interested in reading. I have this box by my bedside where all the books are, and I have 2 stacks, and one stack is prioritized and the other one is a little less prioritized, but the books further down are less prioritized and the books on the top are the books I want to read the most. So that's kind of a rhetoric there. We'll start with the less prioritized pile. Why is this the less prioritized pile? I think I just misunderstood my own system here. Okay, just the books furthest down are the ones that I'm not really interested in reading right now, and the books on the top are the books that I'm most interested in reading about. Okay, we'll put it like that. I'm starting with the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, and I got this as a birthday gift from my friend, I think, or a Christmas gift. So I've had this for quite a while without really reading it, but I am gonna read it. But the thing is, I don't really know what it's about either. It's Brandon Sanderson, so I want to read it because the Storm at Archive was really amazing. So let's just hope that it is an enjoyable book. And then we have a Norwegian book by Namra Salim called I morgen vi ler, which is translated to Tomorrow We Laugh. It's about a young woman named Samina who has a young daughter named Selma, and she is traveling to meet her parents for the first time after they disowned her for having a child with a Norwegian non-Muslim man, and they have told everyone else that she is dead. This is a comment on the multicultural Norwegian society, and my interest in this book has actually peaked a bit because of a recent situation. If you don't know, I can't say the English word for it, so I'm just gonna say the Norwegian. A mosque in Norway was almost subjected to a shooting, and the crown prince visited it and to show respect, and he wanted to shake the hand of some women there, and of course they didn't feel comfortable with that because they wanted to do it in their traditional way, and a political figure in our government didn't really like that and called it sneak Islamization. So the next book we have is The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. 1, I bought this because of the cover. 2, I bought this because I've heard a lot of discussion around the book and I wanted to give my 2 cents on it and actually read it and figure out what the discussion was about. So I think it is about a girl named Violet Saunders who moves to a new town, and she finds out that she's the descendant from one of the founders of the town, and like 4 other kids are also that, and buddies suddenly start appearing in the forest, and the community in this little town starts acting very hostile towards these 5 people. So it actually sounds really interesting to me, and it has side pages, so I like it. I realized that a lot of the books I have in my pile now I've forgotten what they're about, or I bought them because of the cover. And this is really a prime example of this, because the next book we're into prioritized territory. And that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Again, cover. It's really gorgeous, isn't it? And I think this is a sci-fi book. Oh, okay, so it's about a girl named Spencer who wants to be a pilot to fight an alien race who has attacked Earth. But her father was a pilot and he was killed while he was abandoning his team in a battle, and nobody will let her forget that. So she has a very slim chance of actually becoming a pilot, and I think this book is most about her trying to be a pilot, I think. And also this alien race just doubled their fleet, I think, so that's also a plot point that kind of triggers her to go into space. That's going into the pile. Then we have One Dark Throne by Kendra Blake, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that a very long time ago I read 3 Dark Crowns, and I really liked it, so I bought the second book and then I never got around to reading it. But if you want to know about the first book, it is about an island Fenburn. It's Fenburn. Where each generation of like royals, there's a set of triplets born, female triplets, and each of them have an equal claim to the throne, and they each have their kind of element or power that they practice and try to win with. The book is kind of the build up to this big competition that these 3 sisters have to become the queen. And it's a really character-focused book, and I don't know if this will be as well because we're in like the competition now. But there were a lot of interesting elements that the first book ended on, so I'm really interested in where this is going. I have actually put like a limit on myself. I'm not going to try and buy any more books before I actually manage to... Oh my god, I'm so confused right now. What pile is where? I'm going to read Dracula by Bram Stoker, and I don't think I really need to explain the plot of Dracula to anyone. Basically, I was in Denmark, I saw the cover, it was really, really pretty, and it's kind of this... It kind of has this leathery kind of cover, which I really think fit a Dracula theme, you know. So yes, it's another classic, but it's not that long. But I've laid a bookmark in here already. So we'll see when I get around to actually reading it. And also I've gotten a very big interest in classics lately, so we'll just have to wait until I'm finished reading these and then I can order a War and Peace. And then of course this book came so much faster than I anticipated. It normally takes around 2 to 2.5 weeks for the books to arrive, but this arrived very quickly, and I think it's because it's a very new release, and that is Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. And you'll notice that I actually bought the hardcover. I think this is actually the American version, or it's the British one or Australian one. It's written in euros, so then it's probably a British one. This has been so hyped and I'm so excited for this book and actually reading it, and I've gotten slightly spoiled, but I don't care because this is gonna be so amazing. So if you've been living under a rock for the past few years, Dark Dawn is the third book in a trilogy by J. Kristoff. The first book is called Nevernight, and it's about a girl named Mia Corver who is trying to get revenge on her parents, for her parents and their murder by becoming an assassin, I think. It's about her like story through progressing and trying to become this assassin, and it is a very fun, interesting story. One of the most interesting aspects is the fact that these books are kind of narrated in a way that makes you think that you found these books in a library. Just tell a like historical progression. So there are footnotes in here with very sarcastic and fun commentary, and some people said it brings them out of the story. I personally love the footnotes because they're so entertaining, and it's a really great way of doing world building, I feel like. And I also ordered The Picture of Dorian Gray from the same place, but it has not arrived yet, so I'm waiting for that because I just find a lot of classics to be just so interesting, and I hope that The Picture of Dorian Gray is a little bit like smaller so that I actually have a chance of getting through it without losing confidence in my reading abilities. So that was a TBR. I don't quite know if I achieved what I wanted with this video. Actually, I was gonna have a review up today. I don't know if I mentioned that already. If I have, I'm just gonna edit this out. But I haven't finished any books recently, so I can't do that. So therefore, you're just getting a TBR, and hopefully I can get my shit together and actually read again. This has been Ingrid in my WinterBookLand. If you got any recommendations from this video, leave a like. Yeah, do that. And also, if you think any of it sounded interesting, just if you have anything to say, you can leave a comment and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll continue to have a lovely day.